So, hey, it is summer solstice. I wanted to pop on real quick and say happy summer, y'all. It's technically June 21st, which is the first day of summer. I want everyone to have a very happy and safe summer. And so I was talking with a colleague earlier today, and it made me want to put together a short episode about CEO training. So, here, check this out. As far as me being a leader, being a woman in business, being a woman in finance in business for the past 18 years, I am one of the most real people that you will ever meet. And so I look for authenticity in addition to having a positive mental attitude, in addition to having the confidence it takes to operate in rooms that are 7 figures and above. And when I say 7 figures, I mean 7, 8 figures, like multimillionaires. My career has put me in rooms with billionaires consistently over and over again. And so I come to this industry with a depth of knowledge that an average person doesn't have in regards to building a business, because I've spent the past, not all 18 years, but a good chunk of it, like being the person on the other side of the table that's approving your loan when you're coming to me for a business loan. And so as I build my business, please know the perfectionism in me, which is also tied to the fact that I am a Virgo. I am very meticulous, but add that to the fact that I am in finance. And my goal in building my business assets, as I was building them out, or as I am building them out, was to put myself in the position of the client that I was approving. And that has been one of the most difficult things for me to do, because I am always the one with the power. So it kind of gets into this power play of me shifting from the one who has power to the one who's looking to build power at the mercy of others. So maybe this week, it's been a long week for me as far as CEO trainings, as far as stuff in the business and things just doing what they do, because life gone life, right? But sometime this week, I made a firm decision that I was going to seek out funding as a small business, as a minority-owned small business, number one. And then number two, I was going to be applying for the small business grants that are available to minority women as well. And number three, I have not made the decision yet of whether or not I'm going to seek out investors. But I'm leaning towards a yes in that aspect, because the reality is I can self-fund all I want. But at the end of the day, every business that I've made that has become a profitable business has come to our institutions, our financial institutions, for commercial loans, business loans, which is usually the plug that takes them to the next level. And so why would I sit here and struggle for no reason? There is already going to be a considerable amount of struggle because I've chosen to build a startup. That is number one. So why choose to add additional struggle to my life as a Black woman in America, honey? Like, I already have enough struggle going on in my life, right? Like, just by the mere fact that I am a Black woman in America, I am a minority, I am in corporate, or now my own version of corporate, like that in and of itself is a whole thing. And so as a minority, if I know what it takes to get approved for funding, i.e. a business loan, so that I can put money into my business so I can grow the business to get functionable and to get to a point of profitability so that the business can take on whatever form it needs to do. Why wouldn't I do that? So I've had to literally stop myself and recorrect myself in regards to the way that I was thinking and experiencing my limiting beliefs, because I was telling myself that I didn't need funding. I was telling myself that I was going to do it on my own, and not apply for the small business grants that are available to women and minorities. But why wouldn't I do it if it's there? That makes no sense. And I'm not only speaking to me, I'm speaking to every woman out there who's starting a small business, who has the ability, because you are a woman and or a minority and you fall into different categories. I'm speaking to you as well. Apply for the business loan. Apply for the business grant. Participate in these programs that are coming out with Goldman Sachs, who are looking for Black women who are starting businesses. They're looking for Black women who are starting businesses. They're looking to put you through their curriculum of what it means to build a business. And then you apply for funding. I think it's called 100 Business Women. I think they do it every year in the spring, which means that it just passed over 2 months ago. I got an email for it after the fact, but they're doing webinars consistently throughout the year. And so what I'm planning to do is start attending their webinars so I can participate in the cohort coming up next spring. Because as a CEO, number one, you're always training. You're always trying to figure out new ways to build your business, to add value to the business, and take the business to the next level. And so in order for me to do that as a businesswoman, I have to invest in myself, which is, one thing I'm going to say about transferable skills as far as being in corporate America in finance and banking is that, number one, depending on what role you're in, you learn very quickly how to be efficient when you're performing in an IC role. And I've been an individual contributor for the past almost 10 years. Probably a little longer than that. I would have to go back and piecemeal some stuff together. But as an IC, I am responsible for delivering the end result and the product, right? I am responsible for getting senior level management to sign off and approve that product and or project that I have produced in a 30, 60, or 90-day time frame, which is very agile. It's very lean. I indirectly manage several professionals who are on my team, meaning that I am not in a managerial role at all. My goal is to get the result. And in order for me to get the result, I have to indirectly manage people because they are a part of my agile team and on deadline just like me. And so we all are moving in one direction to get to the end result so that we can make timelines and deadlines in order for our metrics to be in place or in a certain quality range so that we can once again say that we're the best, literally. As far as being a part of Bank of America over the past 7 years, 8 years, we have competed head first with JP Morgan Chase, who is the best in the business. We run a close second with them, bar none. And the reason that Bank of America, let me tell you why, that they come in number 2 to Chase. Chase has a very dialed in diversity segment that is very focused on minorities and wealth, minorities in corporations, minorities in finance, minorities in banking. And it's so well communicated and translated across their business lines that when LeBron James sits down on a podcast and talks to you about the school that he launched 5 years ago in Ohio, you know what happens? It comes off as being cool. As an organization, like if you think about organizational reputation, it comes off to someone like me who was born in the 80s, who's a millennial, as, they sitting there communicating with people who are in our age range and having a literal, viable conversation about finance and how it impacts community and what he's doing to maneuver and build community so that people can have a better life. That's cool. And they do a really good job at dialing in with millennials. Bank of America does not do that. Every month that we were celebrating people and their anniversaries or work anniversaries or whatever you call it, there were always people there who had been at the bank longer than I have been alive. And I started working at the bank when I was 34, 35. And it's like there is this struggle of power going on in Bank of America with baby boomers and Gen X and then millennials who we have enough experience at this point in the game that we can run not only the businesses in this country, like we have gotten to the point that we've paid our dues. And the frustrating thing that I would deal with year after year was like, why don't you just go retire? Why are you still working? Like, why am I still looking at you and having a conversation with you and you're 20, 25, 30 years my senior? Like, that should not be happening because you are supposed to be retired somewhere on a beach with a Mai Tai, like soaking up the sun. But yet you in here in corporate in my meeting making my head hurt because you can't figure out how to work technology, or you can't figure out how to turn mute off on a WebEx or a Zoom call. Child, don't get me started. Honey, I got stories. I'm going to tell some of them as time goes on. But my point is, the reason Bank of America does not translate to that first, this is just my opinion. The reason Bank of America stays in that second position is just that they don't connect with millennials and Gen Z well. And while there may be a ton of millennials and Gen Z who bank with Bank of America, there is a significant gap in the messaging. And it comes from the top. All of our C-suite chief executives, they're baby boomers or Gen X. Like, they're in their 60s, dude. Like, excuse my language and don't take it personal, but they're older. And if the CEOs have kids my age, then my question that I used to ask every year, so at what point does the millennial generation get an opportunity to ascend into these roles if we're still competing with our parents 20 years later? Like, help me make it make sense. And it was a constant complaint that I had when I filled out that survey every year. You need to do more to connect with the millennials. Please have the representation of minorities, not just in a talk at all hands, but can I see it in your marketing? Like, can I really see real connection to you going to HBCUs and recruiting? Like, there should be no reason that I am in my early 40s now and I'm still looking around the room, and lo and behold, there is only 2 to 3 African Americans, whether we are Well, actually, it was me, another older gentleman who was 25 years my senior. And what? Oh my God, was it just us? I'm starting to think it was just us. I don't think there was any other minority. Not that there were not any other minorities. There were multiple minorities, but I'm speaking specifically as African Americans. But within our group, we were very few and far in between. And the other thing that I noticed is that we were not only few and far in between in the global risk sector, like it's like that across the organization from a corporate structure. Now, you'll find us in a branch sometimes, a little more frequently in the branch, you'll see African Americans, but who wants to go and work in a branch for the next 20 to 30 years of their lives? A lot of tellers or bankers or personal bankers that work in our branches don't even know that it's an option to transition over to the corporate side. At the beginning of last year, right before I put in my notice, I think it was probably March or April, I needed to have some software downloaded to my computer, and I didn't want to go downtown to like our main offices because I just didn't feel like sitting in traffic. It's such a huge shuffle back and forth. And then you get down there, you got to go through all this security. And then it's a lot. It's a whole process. And so one of the techs on the phone asked me if I could get close to a bank connection, if I could hardwire into a bank connection at a local branch. And I'm like, sure, I can go down the street to a local branch and let the personal bankers or the supervisor know that I can show my ID and tell them, hey, I just need to sit here for the next 5 to 10 minutes while IT works on fixing my computer. And I literally had a whole 10 to 15 conversation with this young African-American male and this Latino gentleman about what I did, the fact that I did it from home, and they were floored by the fact that I worked from home and did global risk independent testing on our assets. And like, I had to really like explain to them that, hey, so, you sit up here all day and you run processes and deal with our customers. Well, I'm that person who comes back behind you and tests the processes to make sure that you're doing your job right, so that when the federal government or the Federal Reserve or the FDIC comes in and starts auditing stuff, that we are in compliance with where we need to be, so that we don't continue to get fined 10, 15, 20, 40 million. I think there was one that was $80 million. I don't think that was us. I want to say that was Wells Fargo in my earlier days. But by the time I end up putting in my notice, I had gotten to the point that I was so tired of cleaning up mess after mess after mess. And it's like, as much job security as it is, it's very, working in global risk and compliance is very secure as far as a job is concerned. But I was burnt out. Like, I'm 18 years in the game. As far as this aspect of it, I am 10 to 12. How old is my son? My son just turned 16. So I went back to work when I took off his first year of life, and then I went back to work as he was turning 1. So he just turned 16. So 15 years in this specific aspect of it, with global risk management and project management and things like that. So anyway, my point being, as a business owner, let me bring it back around, right? I got lost somewhere. I was talking about Bank of America and JP Morgan Chase. But my point being, as a business owner, you should invest in yourself and you should participate. Women, step through the door. A lot of women don't even make the initiative to step through the door and make the ask. you do not ask and you shall not receive. Like, open your mouth and ask for it. And this was a hard lesson that I had to learn in my career. At first, I thought that if I showed up, did a close to 100% job, anywhere from the 90 to 100% percentile as an employee, I thought that they would notice that I was a hard worker and promote me. And I couldn't have been more wrong. Yeah, I was just wrong. You have to open your mouth and make your intentions known to your senior leadership when you step foot into the door, so that both of you can be clear about the path that you intend to go on while being on this career journey with this organization. And it should be the same thing for women when we're running our businesses. Open the door, number one. Number two, walk through the door. Okay. And then number three, open your mouth and ask. Period. Add a number 4. You got to fill out the application and stuff and submit the actual documents. But you get where I'm going with this. Like, you have to be an advocate for yourself in your life, in your business, in your career. It doesn't matter what level you're on or what journey you're on. Open your mouth and ask. Get in the door, build something solid, and turn around. Open the door so a million other people can walk through the damn door that you just busted down. Because trust you me, we are busting down doors. And that is what I'm planning to do with my business. Like, I am going to be so open as I am teaching people how to invest specifically in crypto. I invest not just in crypto, I invest in multiple assets. It's not financial advice. I just teach you what a Harvard emeritus professor taught me that tripled my portfolio in 6 months. And I had been investing for a minute and have not deviated from the strategy at all. Now, granted, my portfolio is made of more than just financial assets. I believe in real estate, but to me, real estate is backed by financial assets. It turns into money. And so there are a lot of tips and tricks to the game. And as I get going in this Manifesting Millions podcast, I'm going to unpack the last 18 years of being a financial baddie as a Black woman in America in finance, honey, working for top blue chip banks. Bank of America, Citibank, and Wells Fargo are my top 3. Like, I come with the absolute tea, and I ain't got no problems opening my mouth at this point, because I was required to be so tight-lipped in regards to confidentiality while I was doing it that I could not express anything. And so this part of my life, this part of my career is about teaching what was taught to me. It just took them investing and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to get me to where I am. Thankful for it. Absolutely. I'm a boss in the game. I know what I'm doing. Like, absolutely. Like, I am so thankful. I can think back to when I was in banking school with the Southeastern School of Banking in collaboration with Owen Graduate School of Management at Vanderbilt University from 2006 and then 2007. I finished up in 2007. It was a 2-year process. And they put me as the CEO of building a bank from the ground up, and I was 25. And I remember thinking to myself, yo, I don't know what to do. I remember being in so many positions over the course of that 2-year period, thinking like, you chose the wrong person, but they didn't. Her goal, and I can't remember her name, her goal in picking me was to push me outside of my comfort zone so that I could believe in myself and be confident to sit in the role she knew I would be sitting in 5, 10, 15 years later. Like, she saw it in me. And what happened during that space, because I was so young, and finance, again, it's not a hot spot for minorities. Like, we are few and far in between. Because I was so young in that space, the people who were around me were VPs and SVPs and managing directors. They were already established in their careers, and they were required to go to this school because their employer required them to do so in order to make them just look good on paper a little better. And what happened was I would pick up mentors from all across the state of Tennessee, literally, who poured into me for the next, actually still pouring into me till literally until today. Like, I mean, maybe not officially just to until today, but we've had relationships over the past 18 years. And I am at the point in my life where I'm looking to do the same thing for so many other people who are coming behind me because someone did it for me. I am at a place of absolute service. Please don't get it twisted. This is a business, and in business, we make money, we make profits. So this is a business, but tied to the goal of making revenue is also me teaching the next generation how to be proper and invest in this new asset class that will shape the next 20, 30 years of finance, because it's not going anywhere. Regardless of what you see on your television, regardless of what you listen to, who you somebody's mama, somebody grandmama, somebody uncle told you that it was a scam. Some of it is a scam. But hey, that's what Pennies to Profits is here for. It's here to teach you a framework of how to be able to tell what's a scam and what's not. It's here to teach you how to evaluate blockchain assets. And anybody can learn it. That's what I love about this asset so much. And you don't even have to be like an 18-year veteran in finance like me in order to learn this asset. You can learn a framework, put the skill in practice, learn some charts and how to read markets. And dude, all you got to do is practice, stay committed to it, and stay committed to your trading plan and what's in the plan that works for you. And you can be good at this. Like, so for me, like, this is not just a course. It's not just me just building an online course. This is me teaching a framework that's within an online course. I'm still going through this transition phase over whether or not I'm going to call a course, because this new mastermind that I just joined keeps saying that it's not a course. It's a reference. You go get what you need, pull out of it, and then you go implement it. And I like that so much better. But for some people, it will be a course because they will be going from start to finish and they need to learn the basics. And you have to learn the basics in order to get to the level that I'm at today, because I did not just pop up overnight because I studied a video or watched a YouTube video. You can spend the next 5 to 10 years on YouTube trying to piecemeal strategies together, or you can go pay somebody to teach you what they paid multiple thousands of dollars for themselves and who's been invested in from a career perspective in investing in alternative assets. managing alternative assets, doing global risk and compliance on alternative assets, or you can pay me to use the knowledge that I got while I was in these Bank of America streets. Anyway, so yeah, that's my recording for now. But I just wanted to get on and talk about the things that I'm seeing as I go through these phases of my business, and how it's so funny. We leave corporate because we want freedom. We want to be in charge of our own time, our own schedule, and we don't want to ask for permission anymore. I felt like I was a 2-year-old asking my freaking kindergarten teacher. So maybe a 5-year-old asking my kindergarten teacher, could I go to my son's football game and leave work early? What in the world? Look, I'm done with the controlling issues of baby boomers and Gen X. I'm over it, right? I was parented by you. I am so thankful for that journey. But at this point in my life, I don't need to ask anyone permission for me to do anything in my life. Period. Point blank. And so, like I said, we build our own business to come up with the structure of what we want a business to look like. But at the end of the day, it's still a business. You still need processes and systems, and you still have to hire employees and contractors and vendors. So you still have to establish some type of foundation in order for it to run effectively. My goal in establishing the foundation is having it to be lean enough that it could be flexible so that we can work in cycles and not necessarily having to commit 52 weeks out of a year to being open for business, right? And not miss the money that's coming in because we have processes in place that keep money flowing, if that makes sense. So we're going to do some new things. We're going to try some new systems. We're going to build a business. I am going to build this business the way I would have wanted my business to be, like while I was working in corporate America, right? How I would have want a unit to operate. That's how I'm building my business. And so I don't know all the answers. It's a new space for me to a degree. But my skills, my SME skills are transferable, honey. And they are showing up so well in this new space for me. And it's taken me a minute. It's been a little over a year since I left corporate, and I basically took a year sabbatical because I really needed to heal my health. I had a major surgery in February of last year. I will talk about that way later, but it took me a year to heal. And I had run myself into the ground. I was tired. My body needed to rest. And that is what I did. I took care of my health for this last year, and I took care of my son. That is it. And you know how I did it? I planned. Number one, I had been planning and setting myself up financially to be able to transition out of corporate. And then number two, I've built a portfolio that allows me to do the needful as far as being able to live our lives the way we want it. And now that I've rested, now that I'm back, everything is healing properly and my health is getting back intact, I'm ready to go. And it's so funny because I look back and think I was wanting to launch multiple times last year and ended up not doing it literally until the end of the year, only to come into this year and have to reposition again. Because at the end of the day, what I'm realizing is that the timing was off. My body needed to heal from hustle culture mentality. So anyway, that is all for now. I hope you learned something in this podcast from something that I've said. It was kind of more of a free-flowing episode. It still really doesn't even have a name, but I will go back and listen and do my edits. I hope all is well with you. And like I said at the beginning, I am wishing you a super happy summer, a safe summer, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode. Bye for now.